joined here by Kayleigh McEnany, National Press Secretary, Trump 2020. Kayleigh, you tried to book me on Huckabee years and years ago when you worked at Fox.
Oh, that was ages ago. I literally was just a youngin' right out of college, and that's exactly right. I followed your account way back then.
And then you thought better of it and said, there is no way I'm going to put this guy on with Mike Huckabee. Good choice. That showed the kind of common sense that has led you to this great job as the National Press Secretary for Trump 2020. How did that come about?
Hey, yes, that's pretty funny. But, the governor would have loved you. I'm sure he would have loved your humor. This came about with a lot of hard work. Like you, went to law school after my time being a producer at
My
Fox.
condolences.
Yes, that was an interesting endeavor. I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer then after attending. And while I was there, luckily CNN at that time had a tiny bit of common sense in saying, well, at least give one Trump supporter a platform. And they gave me a platform to share the good news of President Trump. And then they thought better of it and went the other way and doubled down on their animosity for the president and also lost all their ratings in doing so. And so I left, went to work with the RNC, and then now I'm with the Trump campaign.
Wow. And you're traveling all around the country getting the message out. How's that going?
That's exactly right. I've literally, sometimes I forget which state I'm in, like so there, because it's like a different state every single day. But I've been all across the country talking to Trump supporters in the lines in front of these rallies. There's literally thousands that wait outside just watching the president because they can't get in. And it's incredible, the stories you hear, the kind of learning by President Trump with criminal justice reform. I met beneficiary of the First Step Act, all sorts of different people, paychecks going up. I mean, the things you hear are really remarkable.
What's the feeling you're getting from people who may not have been, Trump curious in 2016? Let's face facts. There were a lot of people in the Republican Party. I was one of them initially who said, what the heck is going on here? Who is this Trump guy? He's not, I've never seen him in National Review before. Who is this guy? He won me over by making promises and keeping them. What are you meeting a lot of people like that?
Oh, absolutely. People who have, gave him a chance, some reluctantly because he didn't have a history or a record in governing. But then, they saw the successes of President Trump and said, hey, I'm on board. And now I see so many more people out there with their MAGA and their CAG hats. They have a lot of confidence and boldness. That maybe was there reluctantly in 2016, but is now out in full force. Absolutely. I meet people who've come off the sidelines. In fact, about a quarter of those who register to attend our rallies are Democrats. About 10 to 15% have never voted in an election. So a lot of these are new voters, too, which is really exciting to see.
And I noticed that Donald Trump's doing some that's actually, Republicans always talked a good game about reaching out to the Black and Latino communities. Donald Trump's actually doing it. How's that paying off?
Yeah, it's paying off in a big way. Out in Nevada, it struck me that there was a lot of Black and Latino support in the line. And I always see that, but it struck me in a real way because this was a blue state. And I was like, wow, this is really exciting to see. And then our data came back and we found that 27% of those who had registered were Black or Latino. And it was literally person after person saying, my life's better off. One man said, hey, I'm a beneficiary of an opportunity zone. I literally only have a business and employees because of President Trump and opportunity zones. So it is materializing in the Black and Latino community, too, the Trump movement. And I think Democrats are going to be quite surprised on November 3rd. Wolf Blitzer will once again have a long face on November 3rd, like he and the rest of the CNN crew did on November 8th.
There's nothing more inspirational than going on when you're down and you're sad to go onto YouTube and watch those videos of sobbing Hillary supporters, broken and sobbing, and it's so beautiful and edifying. I love doing that because their pain is my sugar. Now, I'm a military guy, and I always believe in understanding the opposition. I want to read you something that President Trump just retweeted. It's from and get your comment. It's from Dr. Jill Stein. Remember her from the Green Party, and she wrote, "Wow, Fox." I'm sorry, that's not it. Well, in any case, what Jill Stein said was essentially that Joe Biden is completely out of it. She used the hashtag Biden cognitive decline. And look, I don't want to be uncharitable, but the guy is just not, firing on 8 cylinders anymore. How is the Trump campaign going to gingerly handle the fact that this guy seems to be slowing down without coming across as mean, but pointing out what we need to point out, which is to be president, you've got to be as energetic and engaged as Donald Trump is?
Look, I think it's pretty simple. You put Joe out in his own words and let the voters conclude what they'll conclude. I mean, this individual thinks Margaret Thatcher is the prime minister of England right now. He literally thinks he brokered a 2016 peace deal, or rather climate deal with a Chinese leader who died in 1997. I mean, every day there's a mistake like this where it just simply doesn't make sense. And I think when you put Joe out in his own words, voters just simply conclude this is not someone who's cut out for the job. We don't know what's going on here, but whatever's going on is not something that can be commander-in-chief, lead the nation, fire on all cylinders, like you said. So Joe, in his own words, does a pretty good job of making that case.
Aren't the Democrats in a really tough position? They've got, the energy in the party, the excitement in the party is a guy who adheres to an ideology that butchered 100 million people, socialism. And to fight that off, because they know that Sanders is Vermontese for Mondale, they've gone all in on Joe Biden, and I think he's probably going to get the nomination. But this guy is such a flawed candidate. Do you see any way out of their conundrum?
No, I don't. He is a flawed candidate. Our communications director basically describes it like this: the race was going so badly that they looked around and, everyone who they had hope in had fallen, like Kamala Harris and, whomever else, Cory Booker, if anyone ever had faith in him. Basically, all the options had gone away. And then they saw Joe Biden, propped up against a wall, not doing too much, and just said, hey, you, and pulled him, shook him, and said, get out there, you have to be our nominee. And my comms director, Tim Murtaugh, says it's like getting married in Las Vegas and waking up the next day and being like, oh, what did I just do? And that definitely is going to be the case with Joe Biden. I mean, this is a flawed candidate. There's a reason, people laughed at the things he said in debate, said there's no way it can be Joe, and then he just emerges as the only alternative to Bernie, but that doesn't make him any better of a candidate. He's as bad today as he was last Monday before he had that Super Tuesday victory.
Well, it seems Joe Biden is pretty much the Chauncey Gardner of the Democrat Party. Do you think – now, what would the reaction of the Trump candidacy be if at the convention there was some sort of miracle, some sort of giant twist, some sort of Hail Mary, or more appropriately, Hail Hillary, if Hillary Clinton came in as the savior? We only have about 30 seconds. How would you guys feel about the chance to take her on again?
Oh, we would delight in that chance. She was one of the worst political candidates in history. She remains that today. And boy, I just heard her name floated as a VP potential. She'd be bad as a VP. She'd be horrible as a presidential candidate yet again.
Oh, it would be glorious. It would be incredible. Kayleigh McEnany, National Press Secretary, Trump 2020. I am Kurt Schlichter. I am guest hosting at the Hugh Hewitt radio program. I want you to stick around